Hello and welcome to Stott Pilates. My name is Christie Oliver. I'm a physical therapist and a certified Stott Pilates instructor. And this series of Pilates will be dedicated to my wonderful group of students, both in my early morning and my evening class at Montlake Terrace, and also hopefully be a good resource for the greater community. So we're going to get started in this video clip with instruction or review of the 5 basic principles, which are the foundation of this method. So let's go ahead and get started. You're going to move over to your mat or carpet, whatever surface you are using. And the first principle is breathing. I'm going to go ahead and have you go down on your back. Breathing will be done in through the nose and out through the mouth. And especially as we are going into the work phase of the exercises later, you might want to use a pursed lip breathing out just so that it gives you more ability to really get a deeper connection to abdominal contraction when you're exercising. But in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to be working on 3-dimensional breathing. So first, let's take our hands and just put them on our lower abdominal wall. As you take a breath in, a deep breath in, the diaphragm drops and allows the lungs to expand, and the whole abdominal wall should expand. And breath out. Let's do another one of those. And that is the front or the anterior part of our breathing. Secondly is lateral rib cage. So take the palms of your hand, find your rib cage. As you take a deep breath in, just intentionally try to breathe right into the palms of your hands, trying to expand your ribs outward to the side. That's the second dimension. Third dimension is literally breathing into your back. Because the lungs are 3-dimensional, when you take a deep breath, they actually do expand back or posterior. So go ahead and take a breath in and out, trying to get some pressure into your mat with your back with the breath in. We put these all together and we have 3-dimensional breathing. And deep breathing helps facilitate our deep core. It's essential to our deep core, and a very good posture or neutral spine position is the optimal way to get good breathing. So they work together. But with that deep breath in and out, we get some facilitation of the pelvic floor, the diaphragm is working, and both of these muscles, in conjunction with the deepest layer of the abdominals, the transverse abdominis, and then the multifidi, which are the tiny muscles running between each segment in the spine. These are the deepest core muscles that we have and that we want to work on and facilitate during our exercises. So the deepest core should be activated before we add on the more superficial layers of the abdominal wall. All right, that's the first principle, is deep 3-dimensional breathing. Second principle is pelvic placement, which includes the low back or lumbar spine. So let's start by taking a breath in, breathe out, and press your low back down into the mat flat. That little curve that you have in your low back, let's flatten it. And then let's release it and breathe in. Let's breathe out and flatten it. So we're moving our pelvis and our low back. So a nice way to do range of motion to your back. Let's now find the mid position. The mid position can be a little more flat or a little bit more arched, depending what feels good to your back and if you have any known injuries that you know you have a certain position you should use. But somewhere in the middle is neutral and should feel comfortable without strain. We're going to hold that position, and that is our lumbar neutral. Go ahead and squeeze the pelvic floor, which runs between your pubic bone and your tailbone. Give a squeeze and lift, and pull your belly button in, lower abdominal wall in. That is how we stabilize the placement of our lumbar spine or pelvic placement. That is principle 2. Let's go on to principle 3, which is the rib cage. Sometimes more elusive for people. Let's take our thumbs, put them right somewhere on the lower ridge of the rib cage, your middle finger somewhere on the bony ridge of your pelvis on each side. We're going to just do a light squeeze of our abdominal wall now, the overall abdominal wall. And what that does, because it connects both to the pelvis and the ribs, is it pulls the ribs a little down and in. Relax. And squeeze. The fingers should come a little closer together. Just a feeling that you can control the rib cage placement and keep the rib cage pulled down and in. That is the third principle. Fourth principle is shoulder blade or scapular mobility and stability. The shoulder blades are incredibly mobile. Let's just take our hands, reach for the ceiling. If you reach a little further up, like an overstretch, that is your scapula, your shoulder blade sliding outward on your chest wall. You can feel that slide across your rib cage in the back. Let's put our hands down at our sides, pull our shoulders up toward our ears. Now our scapula are scooting up our back. If we push our shoulders down and walk our fingers toward our feet, we are sliding them down our back. In a majority of the exercises, we're working for stability of the shoulders, although when moving the arms, we have the mobility also. But a lot of stability is needed for a lot of the exercises, which generally means we're dropping the shoulders away from the ears, pulling our scapula lightly together, and kind of thinking of sliding them down your chest wall in the back for stability. That is number 4. Number 5 principle is head and neck position. For some of you, you'll be able to lay flat on the mat, and you'll have your face parallel to both the ceiling and the floor, which is a nice neutral neck placement. For some of us, depending on the contours of our body, we can end up more with our chin up when we're laying flat on the mat. And if that's happening to you, you'll want to use a small towel pad under the head to just give you a little lift and make it easier to start in neutral with your exercises. The other thing we'll be working on is segmental movement of the head and neck, the little yes, so that when we lift the head and neck up off the mat during our exercises, we get a nice gentle curve that's in line with the rest of the curve of the spine. And usually that means we have a little space here between chin and chest of about a fist or a small orange versus chin pulled all the way into the chest. That's too much flexion, or if we tend to jut our chin toward the ceiling, now we're in too much extension. So we want a gentle curve when we're lifting the head. When we start the exercise, we want to try to find a nice neutral start. So those are the 5 principles that you will be using as we approach the next part of our series, which is the warm-up. So your goal will be to remember these principles and apply them throughout all of the exercises. So see you soon.